I'd like to start with this soundbite if we could. I don't know if that's going to come over or not, but I think it's a fun little soundbite.
Well, welcome to episode 1 of the Shmo Podcast, where we don't discuss anything in particular and everything's pretty much open for discussion. Someday we'll have guests. So for those tuning in and watching, this is our first episode, pilot episode, and it comes at a time when we're all pretty much staying at home.
Yes.
So we're calling episode 1 Worst Record Store Day Ever. Kevin, what insights do you have on that title? What can you tell us?
Well, worst record store day ever to me means we couldn't go to a fucking record store yesterday because they're not open. And that sucks because how do you have record store day without a record store?
Last year, I don't remember what we did for Record Store Day. I don't think we participated, but I remember going online and following every record store I could find on Twitter, lots of them in the UK.
I kind of remember last year, about mid-May, sending you a text saying, when is record store day?
Yeah. So it's always in April. And I think Rex Manning Day is what got Record Store Day started.
The date seems awfully close for it to just be a coincidence.
It does. So during this, we've missed, we had the worst St. Patrick's Day ever.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the worst opening day of baseball ever.
Yes.
And now we had worst record store day ever. But tell us about a favorite record store day that you do remember, a good one.
Probably my favorite record store day, and gosh, I wish I could remember the actual year, but it was a few years back, and it was the highlight of that particular record store day was going to Stinkweeds, where they had some live music. One of my favorite Phoenix bands, Snakes was playing, and I believe we also had Jimmy from Jimmy Eat World was there, along with
the Love Me Nots.
The Love Me Nots, yes.
Did Snakes play at that show?
Snakes played at that show as well.
I had forgotten that, but I remember
it was a trifecta.
The Love Me Nots played Rough Boys by The Who, and it was so good.
Yes.
They had that, it was their last bass player that they took on tour with them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a different lineup. I think I bought the Love Me Nots that day. For record store day.
I want to say, and this is going to kind of segue to the next question, so I apologize. It's in, there it is. I want to say it was right around the same time that Snake's Tranquilo came out, and I was able to purchase this vinyl.
Snakes. So does that album translate? Like, there's a lot of bands I've seen live, and then I buy the album and it doesn't work. Does it translate?
It does. It does. They are phenomenal recorded. They are phenomenal live. So yeah, it's.
So one of my favorite record store stories. It's not Record Store Day, but it's Record Store.
Did it look kind of like this one?
Yes.
I have a feeling they were using the same production company.
I went to see a friend. He was stationed overseas in England in 2002. And two very specific memories were being in London, but they have the supersized movie posters everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Coldplay's Rush of Blood to the Head was breaking. And so that poster was everywhere.
Nice.
And that's actually how I came to be a Coldplay fan, because I didn't really listen to him before. I really hated the song Yellow.
Oh.
But then...
Well, I mean, we're all allowed to make bad choices.
But that did it for me, seeing that poster everywhere. And then we took a ferry to Ireland. It was 2002. And when we got off the ferry in Dublin, we made our way down to Temple Bar. And the first thing we did was go to a record store. It opened at about 10 a.m.
And that was a record store day?
No, but it wasn't record store day. It was just the first stop. And I bought, it was called, that was one of my favorite record store experiences, going to a record store in Dublin. And I looked them up last week and they're closed.
They closed? Was it, do you think it was something recent because of this pandemic issue, or just closed in general?
Closed in general.
I did see an article, and maybe you saw it too yesterday. I forget where I saw it, but it was had to do with the oldest still open record store in the world. It's in England, somewhere. And the story was about the lady who bought it to keep it going.
Very cool.
And I must have saw it on Twitter somewhere yesterday when I was posting.
And then last year I tried to do Vinyl Sunday. I tried to post a short 30-second video every Sunday afternoon of a record playing on my turntable right there.
Oh yeah, right there. It has a dust cover on it right now, huh?
And I got 27 weeks done. And then I started missing. I don't know if I was working on Sundays or what. But I was using hashtag Vinyl Sunday. Because there's a lot of analog folks who post their records on Sundays.
When I was a kid, when I lived in Pennsylvania, we would go up to State College, where Penn State main campus was the cool college town to go travel to when you're in high school. And there was a great record store in there. This is my first introduction to non-megastore record stores. It was called City Limits. City Limits or City Lights. But it was this great basement. You'd have to walk down. I think it was underneath an ice cream store. You'd have to walk down the stairwell to get into there, and had the best posters. The best posters. Yeah. Unfortunately, I just really didn't think of vinyl records as a thing like I do now. So I didn't purchase. I probably bought some cassette tapes because it was the 80s and I was a teenager and I had a Walkman.
Yep.
But it was just a great store.
So do you have a favorite format when it comes to your music? Because I'm really in love with Apple Music. I know that sounds super snotty and modern, but I love records. I love cassettes. I love CDs. I've done them all, but my favorite is...
Well, the whole MP3 or MP4 is just so mobile. Take with you your whole inventory wherever you are, whenever you want it. It's easy. Of course, why not gravitate to easy? You don't want to bring it's not like you have a van that you can put all your crates of vinyl in and drive it around with you all the time. Yes. Yes.
J'ai sur mon lit à bouffer sa langue en buvant trop mon whisky. Quant à moi, peu dormi, vie débris, mais j'ai dû dormir dans la gouttière où j'ai eu un flash. En 4 couleurs. Allez hop, un matin, une louloute est venue chez moi, poupée de cellophane, cheveux chinois, un sparadrap, une gueule de bois, a bu ma bière dans un grand verre en caoutchouc. Comme un indien dans son igloo, ça plane pour moi.
I will just get a better camera.
So here's what I want to do. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to Shmo, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, there's a pause button too. Check that out. So we could work things out. Okay. So I'm going to stop recording.